All right, everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a good day. It is Friday, September 18th, 2020, and yeah, you've probably already seen our seasonal 2020 NFL predictions. We've already gone through all the divisional rounds. We've already decided we have our playoffs done. I know I should have put this video out a hell of a lot sooner, and I've kind of delayed on getting it out, and I have no idea what I've been doing. I just haven't recorded this. I'm just recording this today. So I apologize on that, but I didn't make any changes. I didn't make any single change. I kind of feel silly with the Packers now as the 7 seed, and the Cowboys as the 2 seed. I also feel a little silly with the Colts as high as I have them, but I still think they'll win their division, and the AFC South is going to be abysmal. Yeah, I still feel pretty confident. Maybe the Titans win the division, and the Colts are the last seed. So, there's a couple things where I feel a little goofy now. Other than that, I feel pretty good. Like, I feel good about this. Like I said, though, regarding these games, I know there's going to be a couple wins and a couple losses where people are going to be like, yo, that's not going to, like some violent disagreeing is probably going to happen in this one. And I'm totally okay with this, by the way. And I do expect there to be some disagreeing. But again, you have to take this into consideration, and I hope you do take this into consideration. This is sort of what I believe to be if these are the playoff teams, these are going to be what I think the best versions of these teams. So regarding, look at the Patriots, who are probably about a controversial spot. This is they're a top 3 defense, if not the top defense in the NFL. They play bully ball with the run. You can't really. Cam Newton's fully healthy, having a great season, a resurgent season, which he looks like he might be poised to do. They can run. They get the lead on teams. They use their defense to hold teams down, get about a 21-10-13 lead, and they bully ball you. They just run the ball and run the clock. So that's what the Patriots could look like this year. The Colts, Phillip Rivers has a good year. The Steelers defense is great. The Broncos are a scrappy young team. The Titans are a fucking scrappy team. The Ravens defense is one of the most elite. Is probably one of the top 3 units in the NFL. The Chiefs offense is elite. Their defense is a bit, it's good, but it's, their questionable side. The Packers have a good year. These are the best versions of these teams. The 49ers play well. The Cowboys offense wakes up. The Saints make it through. The Vikings play good. These are going to be the idea versions of what I consider to be the top 14 teams in the NFL. So you have to take that into consideration when I put them up against one another. Some teams have some mismatches and disadvantages that it just sucks that they drew that team. So we'll see how it goes. And I'm not using any of week 1 to make these considerations. I cannot do that. I have to use my predictions, so you have to consider that. All right. Wild card weekend. Here we go. I don't think this is a controversial one. Wild card weekend, I make it through without any big picks that'll piss anybody off. I think there's only one team that gets a bye. That's I should go back. Only the Ravens and the 49ers get byes in this week. 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6. 4 plays 5. So 2 plays 7. Kansas City Chiefs will take on then the Tennessee Titans. I don't know why that was so hard to figure out. So obviously I would put the Chiefs ahead of this team. They beat them last year in the playoffs. And even if the Titans get a lead, the Chiefs can come back and beat them. I don't really believe that the Titans really match up too well with the Chiefs. I don't think they really have the secondary to compete with them. They can get pressure and kind of fuck up the run game the Chiefs might have this year, kind of disrupt Mahomes a bit. But I don't think they have the secondary really to hang with the Chiefs. And that's why I'd pick the Chiefs over the Titans. It's a mismatch. The Titans are just mismatched here. And I think a similar thing happens with it would be the New England Patriots would then play the Denver Broncos. Without Von Miller, I do think this is a mismatch. I think the Broncos are a good young football team and they have a bright future. But I don't know how well the Broncos can play against the Patriots minus Von, because we'll just take care of Chubb. It's one of those things where you're like, all right, if we can take care of the boogeyman for the Patriots, we might be able to beat you guys. It's not going to be in Denver, so they don't have that weird advantage they always have on the Patriots when it's in Denver. Now, if this was 2 years later, I might go the other way on this matchup, but I think the Patriots defense, again, it's going to be a top 3 unit, will overwhelm the Broncos offense. And we already seen what, a young quarterback, young team, young receivers, super veteran secondary, probably the best secondary in the NFL. That's going to be an issue for young Drew Lock, I think. I think it's, unfortunately, the Patriots defense is going to just, I think, overwhelm this Denver Broncos team. And we'll get a good game, like a 2014 game. But again, I think that's going to be a lot of Patriots games this year. Is this score is right around 21-11, 2014, 28-20. Like a lot of close games where it's defensively oriented. And I would go with more the Patriots defense. If they win their division and they are an 11-5 team, that defense is going to be gnarly this year. This is what I think so far. And then I would put the Colts again. It could be easily the Colts play the Chiefs and the Steelers are playing the Titans here. This could very well be flip-flopped. But again, this is based on predictions before the season started. I like the Steelers defense. I think they're going to be I think the top 3 units in football, or the top 3 defensive teams in football, are going to be the Patriots, Ravens, and Steelers. I think that's going to be your top 3, and then the Bills, and then some random, maybe the 49ers. Those will be your top 5 defenses, I personally think. And I think that's going to be the end of the Colts run here. I think the Steelers defense is just going to dominate them. The offense will do just enough to score, as that's how they'll win most of their games. The offense will do just enough for the Steelers to win the games, while their defense holds teams to embarrassingly low points. I think Big Ben will have a nice little resurgent year. He might start. Again, we've already gone over all that. But I think the Steelers at this point, I think they'll be pretty, they'll have their identity, defense that can beat the hell right out of you on offense, but they'll just do what they got to do. Plus, no one trusts playoff Phillip Rivers, right? All right, and then the Green Bay Packers, who probably will not be in this seat after the season gets going, but again, can't change it due to the because the season started. That'd be really dishonest to just change my picks because the season started. So we're not going to do that. I think if these two teams meet up, I think Green Bay is going to beat them. I don't trust the Cowboys secondary when dealing with Aaron Rodgers. Who's probably going to play pretty hot this season. He looked really good in week 1. I know we're not supposed to bring that up, but drafting Jordan Love probably lit a fire under this dude's ass, and the Packers looked pretty decent. They dominated. These are the two of the ones where I'm like, God, I put these two in the wrong spots. I predicted their seasons completely wrong and backwards probably. But again, they're all right. I'm pretty sure Green Bay beats Dallas consistently in the playoffs. I don't know how that matches up. But I do think the Packers, if they were to be in this point, I do think the Packers are a better team. If the Packers are a playoff team, I think they match up well with the Cowboys due to secondary issues, and Aaron Rodgers will shred them. That's the nicest thing I've ever said about Aaron Rodgers, by the way. All right, let's go on to the next game. The New Orleans Saints will host the Seattle Seahawks, and I think the Saints finally get past their playoff woes in this game. I really like Russell Wilson, but I don't think the Seahawks defense is quite ready. They're almost done with this weird open rebuild. Other than Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams, they don't really have a secondary. I think teams are going to shred them apart when they throw the football on them. And we kind of seen that. I hate to bring this up, but in week 1, we kind of seen that continued when Matt Ryan threw for 450 yards on him, dude. It was effortless on his end. Call it garbage time, but he did throw for 450 yards on the Seahawks. So their secondary is going to be an issue. Their defense is a bit of an issue in Seattle. So I think New Orleans could take advantage of that. I think the Saints do take advantage of that and hang a lot of points on them. And I think the Saints defense makes a stop or two. In this game, it's a shootout. And I always kind of put shootouts on who do I think is going to be able to make a stop? Which defense do I trust more to make that big stop late in the game or something? And I put it on, I'd say the Saints. I would say the Saints. As long as they're not cheated by a referee call or just some crazy shit happens, like a guy falls down trying to make a tackle. I got the Saints in that one. Just because I don't trust the Seahawks defense quite yet. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would be facing the Minnesota Vikings. And I got the Bucs beating the Vikings. Again, this is the Buccaneers. Brady's good. The team is operating really, really good. They pretty much have been on a tear to end the season. As I kind of predicted, they'd struggle early in the season. I actually predicted the Bucs and Saints game, to bring that up. I only missed it by 5 points. It was like I predicted 24 to like 34. It was like 31 to 20. It was like some crazy shit. I almost got the score right. And I almost predicted how the game would go. It was, it's one of those things in my picks videos. You should check those out if you haven't. So I have a beat on this Buccaneers team. I'm not a big fan of the Bucs. I actually don't like them, but I'm following for Brady. And I think this team improves. And if that's the case, I think they handle the Vikings quite well. I don't really trust Kirk Cousins as a quarterback that much. I know he's kind of overcome a couple of those tags, but we'll see if he can continue on, win some primetime games this year, blah, blah, blah. I like the Bucs over the Saints, so I think or the Bucs over the Vikings. I think their offense is a little bit too much of a firepower unit, the Bucs would be at that point. So let's advance to the divisional round. I got the Ravens over the Steelers. I would say at this point that the Ravens would be a top-tier defense, so are the Steelers. So it would come down to who I think actually has the better offense, and I would put that on the Ravens. I think they have a better running game. I think they have a better quarterback, receiving, tight end. Like, I don't think Lamar is better than Ben, but overall, but like it's this one's hard because I think the Ravens have a better offense than the Steelers by a mile. But I don't know how much different Big Ben's a Hall of Famer. I'm not trying to disrespect Big Ben, but right now I'd take Lamar over Ben. I'm not bullshit. I think every one of us would. And I know they have the defense the Steelers do, but so would the Ravens at this point. Then it comes down to which offense do you feel you trust more. It's a little bit opposite of the defense. Both of them have top 3 defenses, in my opinion, at this point. That's why they're here. They're defensive teams with the crazy, decent offenses. So I'm going to go Ravens because I trust their offense a little more. This could be an overtime type game. So I would go Ravens in one hellacious of a game. All right, here comes the game where everyone's going to be pissed off and fight me about it. Now, before I press the next button, you got to remember, everybody, this is if both teams play to what their potential is. And their potential for the Patriots is the best defense in the NFL, as it was last year, or at least a top 3 unit with a strong rush defense and the best secondary in the NFL. Probably will have the best secondary in the NFL and a pretty good rush defense, top 5, top 10. So you have to remember this when I make this pick. Best secondary, top 5 to top 10 rush unit. Offense is good at running the ball, can put points up, can run the shit out of it. We got 200 again, everything's working. All right. I got the Patriots beating the Chiefs, and before you kill me, let me explain why. Last season, I seen the Chiefs have to come back in every single one of their playoff games. I seen a defense that got overwhelmed immediately at the start of every single game. That they had to make the adjustments and depend on Patrick Mahomes making a comeback to win those games. Now, yes, their defense held and yada, yada, yada. The Chiefs had the ball a lot, and it is what it is. The teams got kind of overwhelmed and came back on. That happens. The Super Bowl, Shanahan choked. There is a way to beat the Chiefs, and the Patriots have kind of shown it in the past, right? And the Patriots, if you did not pay attention, they built a team that actually can beat the Chiefs. A supremely talented secondary, which is what the Patriots do possess. If they get this far, they will have that. Gilmore, J.C. Jackson, JoJuan Williams, the McCourty twins. All of those guys are there. That's a very good unit. Kyle Duggar, when he gets developed. It's deep. That's a deep fucking unit in the secondary, right? We match up well with that situation for the Chiefs. We can match up well there. Now, the running situation, we could probably deal with that. If we're this far, we have a top rushing unit. And the problem here for the Chiefs is if they fall behind in this game early, as they tend to do in the playoff games, the game will be over. The Patriots will hold the clock and rush for about 200 yards because no offense to the Chiefs defense, I don't think they match up physically with what the Patriots would be doing running the ball. 3 or 4 different guys running it, including the quarterback. They can pass it out to their tight ends really quick for 5 to 10 for 10, 11-yard strikes. Keep your offense off the field, play bully ball, play against a less physical defense that the Chiefs have. I think the Patriots are a matchup nightmare for these Kansas City Chiefs because I think Bill Belichick built a football team to fuck this Chiefs team right up. I'm not kidding. Go look at the way this team is built. An immaculate secondary, super physical on the line. And they play bully ball. They're going to keep the ball away from your quarterback. They're going to run the shit out of it. You're going to get like 20 minutes with the football. You better score every single possession, and I don't think that's possible when a team has been building a secondary to deal with a team with the track star offense, i.e. the Patriots, what they've been building for the Chiefs. That's what happens when you're the top dog like the Chiefs were for last year. The Patriots went and built a team that can deal with you. Now, on the Chiefs end, I don't think this is going to be a bad football game, but I do think the Chiefs fall behind early, and I don't think they dig themselves out of this hole. I think the score becomes really quickly like 14-0, and then that's the end. That's it. That's game over. The Chiefs could go 14-7. Patriots make it 17-7. They go 10-7. Like, it could be 14-17. Patriots score again. They take 8-9 minutes off the clock late in the game. Like that could be why that game ends up like that. If the Patriots are here, by the way, Newton is Cam Newton. This offense is averaging probably between 150 to 200 rushing yards per game, about 30 carries per game. It's some craze between 3 different running backs and Cam Newton. They can throw it somewhat. This team would be a problem if they get to the playoffs, win the division, go 11-5, have that top 3 defense. And that's what I'm predicting. And the Chiefs it's not like I'm saying, oh, the Chiefs just suck. No, it's not even that. It's if this is the same, a very similar Chiefs team, and it is a very, very similar Chiefs team that can run the ball a little bit now against the Texans. We'll see how that plays. Dude, they fell, but like their defense isn't any better than it was last year. They fell behind in every game early. If they fall behind early against a team that can run it and play physical defense that can shut teams down, that's not good for the Chiefs. The Patriots will win that game if they fall behind in that game early. Like, there will be no coming back on this Patriots team if you fall down to them by at all, and that's kind of what the Chiefs' MO was last year. So I got the Patriots beating the Chiefs in that one. Don't worry, they're not going to the Super Bowl. I kind of blew my next round, but surprise. But okay, so similar to last year, if this is the matchup, this is the only matchup where the Packers are completely Swiss cheesed. They just do not match up well with the 49ers. There is just something wrong there. 49ers will blow this team right out of the water, and we've seen it last year. And I'm sorry to the Packers fans, but that's the worst. That's unfortunate. I have to kind of go quick now. I think the Saints would beat the Bucs in the playoffs. I think the Bucs finally. I think the Saints know what they have to do to upset Brady, and I think by the playoff time they'd have that defense that can kind of upset and disrupt Tom Brady. And I think the Saints. I think if it comes down to anything, I think the Saints are a little bit better on offense. Maybe, but they're a better defensive team, so I trust the Saints to win that game. Let's go to the conference champ. So to recap, that would be San Francisco would take on the Saints, and the Patriots take on the Ravens. Now let's go to I got the Ravens beating the Patriots actually quite handily in that one. I think the Ravens have a great rushing defense. I think they have a great passing defense, and I think that's going to be the Patriots' kryptonite. The fucking Baltimore Ravens. It always is, always will be, always has been. This is a rivalry. Only the Patriots and Ravens fans seem to know that this is the rivalry. But I picked the Ravens to beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game, simply because I think the Ravens are what the Patriots don't want to run into. A team that can play the run, can play the pass. And I don't think we have the answer for Lamar Jackson. I genuinely don't think we have that answer. Like most teams, we don't got it. So I don't even have much to say. I think the Ravens beat us handily, actually, because they have a rush defense. That's really good. And then I have the Saints actually beating the 49ers. This would be a shootout, I think. So I just trust the Saints offense a bit more than the 49ers. To me, there are issues with the 49ers that might become prevalent in a shootout, and I think this game would become a shootout. I don't trust Jimmy G in a high scoring shootout. He's done well in those, but I would probably be leaning on the Saints. I think the Saints kind of get over a lot of their postseason woes in this season, and they find their way to the Super Bowl. Now, hilariously, let's go to Super Bowl 55. Now, I got the Ravens beating the Saints in the Super Bowl. This is mainly now everybody stays healthy. You know, this is all obvious, right? These are the tops of the teams, right? I think the Ravens win the Super Bowl this year. And I think that I'm comfortable in that decision because I don't think Lamar Jackson as a third-year quarterback is like a playoff disaster. He's a fucking young quarterback, dude. Most young quarterbacks are kind of shitty in the playoffs. Other than like Brady, Roethlisberger, like those guys are Hall of Famers though. Like it's like, yeah, okay, you know. All right. Okay. But yeah, so we'll see with Lamar this year. I think that's just a maturity thing. I think they overlooked the team last year, and that's a young maturity issue. I think it was a maturity issue. I don't think that'll be prevalent this year. I think they kind of have their head on straight. And that might be a problem for teams. I think the Ravens are one of the better defenses in the NFL. They have a good pass defense. They have a good rush defense. Are they going to be the top? No, they might be the third best, but I think it's going to be very balancedly good defense. Whereas the Patriots might have the best passing defense by a mile, but they might kind of, you know, be a top 10 to top 5 rush defense. So there might be some issues with the Pats. Ravens are going to be super balanced on that side of the ball. Plus their offense is going to be really hard to stop. And I just, you know, if it comes down to it, I think the Ravens have a better offense and a better defense than most teams in the NFL this year. Their special teams are better than most teams, and I think this is a mismatch. If this is what it is, I don't even know why I made it so close. It should be 31-21. I picked the Ravens to swamp them, actually. Personally, this is like a 23 slide thing. But yeah, so that's my playoff predictions. You remember, please try to remember these are like the final versions of what these teams can be, right? This is, you know, the Patriots have a great defense. Cam Newton worked out. All these teams are at the top of their things. Try to be civil when you go at me for the Patriots, saying the Patriots will beat the Chiefs, because a lot of you have the Chiefs repeating as Super Bowl champions, which I respect. I'm not trying to say you're wrong. That's just, I don't think so. I don't see the Chiefs as repeating, personally. I don't think they have the defense to do it. I don't think you can get lucky like that and keep winning in comebacks. If that happens again this year and they fall behind, they're doomed. I think if they play a team like the Patriots and get down by some of the scores they were down, like if they get down 24-0 to the Patriots, that's game over. That is not going to be a comeback, by the way. Sorry, we're not the Texans. That's not going to happen. So, and based on what I've seen, they got down to every team they played in the playoffs. So, again, you know, that's just my thoughts. So, thank you guys so much for listening to my my season predictions. I'll do an awards prediction tomorrow, and I'll have that video out. So I'll give my awards predictions, and then I'll do like my goofy season, like, oh, this player is gonna do this or this player is gonna do that. You know, those are always fun. So thank you guys so much for sticking around. Thank you for all the views on all the prediction videos. Thank you for the views and all the new subscribers on the picks video today that came out the other day. I appreciate it so much. Thank you guys for, you know, sticking around for the NFL season. Channel will be streaming again on October 22nd. Cannot wait. In the meantime, sub to the backup channel, subscribe to this channel, leave your thoughts down below on this. I'm sure it'll be a great time. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a good one. Again, leave your likes, leave your thoughts down below. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of them. Thank you so much for listening. I am Rob. Peace. Fuck, this is going to be toxic.